I'm so happy and grateful. Ryan does not fly to Antarctica unless you're a top scientist or sent and requested to go to Antarctica. Why do some governments say stay away from Antarctica? What are they hiding? Why don't they want you to know what could be there? Why do they want you to stay away? The initial Antarctica is very cold, apparently up to negative 130 degrees Fahrenheit, which I have no idea what that means, but I do know what negative 90 degrees Celsius means. Ow. But what alliance of governments restricts you, the lesser classes, from their parties? And why do they... You're about to see the official UN flag. Want you, underlings, to stay away from Antarctica. Isn't it just a bunch of penguins anyway? What are they hiding? A people devoid of the real truths and agendas of the upper echelons? Before the mid-1900s, we didn't know much about this icebox country. It is supposedly the largest country on our traditional maps. However, I will show you very shortly the map of the UN official flag of the UN, which you will see this very identical map on the UN map. Notice how the countries are the exact same shapes and positions on this map as they are on the UN flag. So which alliance of governments decided what narrative it wants the lesser classes or underlings, the common people, to think is reality? For they are surely pulling the wool over many, many people's eyes. I'm not saying who is behind this alliance of governments, whose aim is to hide things in clear view and to deceive mankind, but I will just say that the Renaissance painter Leonardo da Vinci was a Freemason, so was George Washington, and every other president of America, with a few exceptions, were Freemasons. One who was not a Freemason was John F. Kennedy, whom they tried to shoot because for some reasons, he did not go along with their Freemason agenda to deceive the people. And therefore, he went against their agenda to hide and deceive the reality of the world from the masses of the people. I would not particularly trust what my governments tell me, though I do blindly follow them, but I would not particularly trust what my school teaches me. But I do say, but your nana or your grandmother might tell you, or your grandpa might tell you, if they remember correctly, that Admiral Richard Byrd, Jr., an American Navy explorer, it was released that Admiral Richard Byrd was sent on a government mission to look for, or with the cover of looking for, resources in Antarctica. Admiral Richard Byrd wore super thick real animal furs, to this day, which are unmatched in keeping ye warm, to keep himself warm as he went on Operation Paperclip. And yes, before you ask, some James Bond movies, particularly with Sean Connery, Miss Moneypenny, shake and not start, some James Bond movies were partially based on real events and real operations. Operation Paperclip, Operation Operation Goldfinger. When you realize that there is an old senile bunch of elite people whose only agenda is to make up lies about reality and to basically deceive mankind or anyone who just does not question TV and schools and what schools teach us. Well, what did Richard Admiral Byrd, personally experience on his voyages? And no, this is not the voyage of Sinbad the Sailor. These are the US government approved and validated voyages of the man Richard that they so admire, Richard Admiral Byrd. Some say Richard went to Agartha, the massive, super big underground civilization, Agartha. Because if you lived in Antarctica, you would probably live underground as well in a large supersized city, because in a huge world with a monorail and with people chatting away in their language, because it's too cold on top of the desolate cold winds on the surface of the snowy, icy white Antarctica. So it makes sense to go and live underground there where it's warmer. Oh, it is hot. If I have enough likes, thinks I will do in the foreseen future more videos on Agartha, the legendary voyages to massive underworlds where civilizations and massive things, structures and people live in an open system that is massive, like another world. And such likes, if your thumbs sticking up, touch it. Yes, I want you to touch it. Let me know if you have a thrill touching the nipple, the thumbs up picture. Thank you, my horny club members. Yes. Can you feel it? In 1957 and 58, bear in mind I have friends, Dill, who was born in 1950, and May, born in 1955. In 1957 and 1958, a bunch of countries were jointly decided to jointly protect Antarctica from what you school children and lesser adults who don't even have a ship to get there. Why did these governments in 1957 sign an agreement, a treaty, jointly called the Stay Out of Antarctica, you Nazi twits, or we'll have you up to duff? Called the Why were so many governments scared of you discovering Antarctica, and which old elite group controlled the leaders of governments and made them agree to keep underlings, common folk, elf folk like yourself, away from the prized lands of Antarctica? It is the same old-timers, elite people who forced multiple governments to agree that we went to the moon. It was these old-time scallywag elite old gits that forced multiple governments to agree that we went to the moon, to agree that the world is round, to jointly agree amongst multiple governments that, including China, to teach people theories as if they were facts. Really, how can schools get away with teaching theories and not facts? So that you had to come on YouTube to decipher for yourself what the world is all about. God's sake, Captain, I want it up me bum! Arr! So the Antarctic Treaty was formed by none other than Spectre. What does this mean? Coincidentiality. It means that if you're a citizen of one of the particular countries that signed the Antarctic Treaty, you will need permission to visit Antarctica. Because you're good enough, you're inspired and wonderful enough, and you will need to say something And if you're intending to go to Antarctica for some adventuring expeditions or to see what is beyond Antarctica, as Antarctica in the olden days was just basically called the ice wall. And you will see the ice wall and all the countries in the correct shapes and proportions and postulates on the UN map, which I will show you later, and I will symphony it out. And you will need to say, if you intend to go to Antarctica and you're going there on a ship with your friends or your scallywag mates, you will need to say an excuse, something like, we're just going there to film some wildlife, to film the walrus's mate with their giant tusks, and to join in the middle of them, get squelching hot. Or even better, we're going to the Antarctica to search for resources for you. We might find you some gold or some oil or some crude rudiments of rudimentary involvement. Or we're going on a walking expedition, as Scott of the Antarctic did, to the South Pole. Or I wouldn't actually use that one, not because if the official logo for the UN map and flag, the UN flag, is, I will repeat this, because I'm not saying the world is flat, but I'm just saying, I will repeat this, this is for entertainment purposes only, even if it did partially mainly happen, or not. But the thing is, I'm not saying the world is flat, but if you look at this map, not the official map, but this is an old map, and the UN flag looks identical to this map, and the UN flag is the flat Earth map. I will repeat, you tell me if the UN flag, with all the countries in all the positions and shapes they're in, is the flat Earth map. Is it the flat Earth map? Well, I'd have a double check at that, as all these elite, not me, I'm not saying I'm a flat earther or not, but I'm just saying all the people, all the elite, I call the elite Spectre, all the elite old gits, they are flat earthers because the UN flag is an actual picture of a flat earth. Yet these elite old gits who want to deceive mankind, yet they who believe in the flat earth, the UN, the elite, the Spectre, yet they make countries and governments such as the USA promote a round earth in contradiction to what the elite themselves believe. But if you're on an expedition, your thoughts, please. If you are particularly on an expedition, the wind's in your face, and it's howling, and your mates are there, and you're having good knees up, and you're on a big metal ship, and you're on your way, and you've just got into the Antarctic waters, and you're looking down at the sea, and it's so deep and blue, and you see some of them humpbacks coming out, woof, and spurting the water out of the humpback nostril thing, woof, pluming it into the air as they take in gallons and tons of oxygen into their bodies and then submerge. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're on such an expedition of discovery for yourself firsthand, not in textbooks, not what countries and TVs told you, but you're looking at these things to discover these things firsthand, to see what the world is really about, you've got to do it for yourselves. But then it's not so easy. You could just make the first move, or what I suggest is you could just make the first move to live in a country that is not influenced by the elite. if you live in a free country that is not influenced by the elite, I'm talking about one of the countries that did not sign the Antarctica Treaty in 1957. For what country is not controlled by the elite, by the spectre? Well, the Antarctic Treaty, then if you're living in such a free country, which is not one of the countries that signed the Antarctic Treaty, but an independent country, if you're a citizen of one of those countries that did not sign the Antarctic Treaty, then you can go from there, to Antarctica with your mates on a boat without asking permission from your country. You only need to ask permission from your country to go to Antarctica if your country that you're living in, that you're a citizen of, is one of the original countries that signed the Antarctic Treaty in 1957, who jointly own the so-called wastelands. Why? My dear friends, I do hope this makes rudimentary sense, yet as I'm dyslexic and they sent me an autism assessment, I may appear crazy, but Albert Einstein, Richard Branson, and Keira Knightley, she's not my type, but I didn't say no, Keira Knightley, Richard Branson, Albert Einstein are dyslexic. So does that mean that they think for themselves or do things differently or question governments? I would never question government. I love my country. But I'm not a nationalist as such because we live in a cooperative world. You are, if you've saved some money and allowed to be in Antarctica, in the blue waters, and you lap a bit of the water in your mouth and you taste a bit of the thrill of the cold and the salt, and if you're on board a cruise ship, a metal solid cruise ship with luxury interior, with people going around on the ship, that is legal. You are allowed to visit Antarctica for cruising. You are allowed to visit the Antarctic blue waters if you're on a cruise ship. That's legal. For commerce, you are allowed to step foot on the land. It's one small step on Antarctica for your cruise ship onto the land, some of which is rocky and without snow or ice, because unlike the North Pole, where Father Christmas, the satanic, where Father Christmas dwells, the South Pole has solid land mass. It's not just snow and ice. It is solid bedrock, terrain, and anyway, the Spectre. I call Spectre the elite. I call the elite Spectre. They stated that no single nation could own Antarctica. It was divided up between Argentina, Australia for some reason, good day mate, Chile, France, oh, you like a snail? New Zealand, I don't consider New Zealand anything, and Norway and the UK, United Kingdom, is a great country. Come and visit it. You may love it. So, God bless the Queen. But don't bless the people. God just save the Queen. So you think, I want you to think with your mind, why are these countries not allowing you to just wander around Antarctica freely? Why, if they claim it's such a free world we live in, why don't they allow you to wander around Antarctica freely? You tell me. Forget about it. Drop it, release it. You've forgotten totally forget about the moon landing, whether it's fake or not. Forget about it, because the real thing is stepping your foot on Antarctica is one small step for me, for you, and one big step for mankind. is on that landmass. Does the people so-called running your country, are they slightly bothered about preservation of the natural eco-habitat of Antarctica? I think not. What trees are there anyway? It's mainly just ice. See, clearly, more concerned could they be for taking a backhander of coin and money into the jeans pocket. So don't tell me you're not going there. Don't tell me what. They don't want you to know, because you will unclean the penguins and disturb the natural environment. Is that why they don't want you to go, really? Because they don't want you to disturb the natural environment when they don't give a poo about their own environment in their own countries. Officially, in Antarctica, they have proven and declassified there are blood red waterfalls. Yes, that means they have declassified that there is flowing water in Antarctica. They've even said, declassified, that there are blood red waterfalls, flowing rivers in Antarctica, though a lot of Antarctica that we see on the television is all ice and snow. But it must be quite good that they do have fresh running water there as well as rivers. And declassified is the fact that, you can check it out, that there are underground mountains. Underground mountains? A bit like Lord of the Ring thing. So, to be inhabited not by dwarf kind. Do these underground mountains contain Agartha, the hidden cities which people live in? And declassified also, if you wish to check it out, is gold spewing volcanoes. Now that's hot. I will repeat it once again. In Antarctica, declassified, for the public information, it says that there is gold, the metal gold, the yellow thing, gold spewing volcanoes. And volcanoes are very, very hot. So they've just said in some underhanded way, without saying it clearly, by them saying and releasing the facts that there are gold spewing volcanoes, that means there is a lot of gold in the Antarctic. Because the volcanoes apparently spew gold now. In Antarctica anyway, they do. And they've also said that there are waterfalls, blood red waterfalls in Antarctic. That means there is fresh running water in Antarctic. That means it's got to be warm at some place. For there to be fresh running water, it must be warm in some parts of Antarctic. That's what they probably don't want you to know. Or did these 7 countries under the Queen restrict your freedom to go on Antarctica to save you from the initial cold belt of up to a negative 90 degrees Celsius? Well, make me a snowman. Well, make me a snowman and make me an igloo and put a few sausages on the barbie. Throw me a few shrimps on the barbie. Is there a hidden World War II fortresses under the ice? Do you see them? Do you see them now? It is the gateway is it the gateway to alien races? Is Antarctica the gateway to alien races? To see very strange faces, and giants and dwarfs, and Mordor? Does Mordor belong? Is Mordor and Lord of the Rings, is it partly based on truth? Beyond the ice wall? Well, flat earthers may think so. They may say that the whole cheesy moon, the moon business, the moon landings, are merely a distraction for us not going and conceiving the Antarctica. Maybe the moon landings are just a distraction for us not going to the real promised land of the Antarctica, which they have declassified, has mountains and volcanoes which spew out gold. My God. I personally don't care what shape the world is or what is beyond, because I'm beyond it, you see. Because, if you did break the rules and go to the Antarctica, you have gone to the Antarctica, starting out your journey from one of the 7 countries that signed the Antarctic Treaty, there could be a penguin fine of up to 10 grand and even 1 year in the pen. So stay away from breaking the rules. Its skies, the Antarctic skies, are restricted aerospace. When you book an air flight from Ryanair or from Etihad, Emirates, or what's it called on Catch Me If You Can, that company, that plane company, if you go on any airways, any airline, you'll notice the flight paths do not go to Antarctica, nor do they go over it. It is all restricted aerospace. Why did Spectre restrict it? Why did Spectre, the UN, restrict it? A no-fly zone, because they don't want you to see what's beyond it. Or are they just jealous? Spectre, you can give it a good suck. Anyone found wandering about in Antarctica is subject to punishment by their own country. Hang on a minute. Perhaps you've got the good destiny of just visiting Antarctica as a tourist on a luxury cruise ship, fully laden, after the onboard disco and dancing about, letting loose, forgetting yourself, and having a lot of all-inclusive free meals. And after having too many drinks, you and your mates think that it's funny, it would be jolly good funny to take supplies and wrap up warm and to wander on and through Antarctica, because you are just one of the lads, and as a tourist you came from a country that isn't part of the treaty, in such a predicament that you now find yourself the host nations of the ship or plane that you went on there will take the reins, meaning possibly the captain of your ship or pilot could take it into his own glove. In siege, imaginational control, he could possibly say, "Oi, you boys, get back on the cruise ship, or me job's up for the chop." No, look at the wash of the gentle waves and the sea. How does it feel to be in the vast wilderness of nature? Ronald Reagan, not the inventor of the ray gun, that's in Star Wars. Ronald Reagan, American USA president of the 1980s, didn't want you to fly into Antarctica, so he loves you so much that he made it largely a no-fly zone. But there are, as you will see, exit points fully open. If you look on this particular Spanish map, what it says, if you focus in, if you can read English, it says South America and in the Atlantic Ocean, and you will see the other name for Antarctica is the ice wall, and upon this map you'll see there is quite a large gap in the ice wall, which takes you to the Athenian Ocean. And if we look on the Indian Ocean on this map, there is also a passageway that apparently Sinbad the Sailor and other people took to the mermaid lands of Pitatha, and there's also beyond to the into the Altoan Ocean. Altoan Ocean? Yes, possibly. I'm not saying it's a fact, but let's look at this old Japanese map, which is over 1,000 years old, in black and white. Here we can see that this map here was found in 1,000 years ago in a Buddhist Japanese temple, and this map is a flat Earth map over about 1,000 years old map from Japan, and as you can see, our countries of America, Australia, South America, and our countries are in the circular rings there. The final circular ring represents Antarctica, and then there are, as you can see, lands that have been documented not only by the Japanese but by almost every country in the world, which are beyond the rings of Antarctica. The outer ring is the Antarctic, represents the Antarctic. All the land masses that you can see in the circles are our countries, all of our countries. And of course, in the olden days, since probably Prophet Noah invented the first boat or ship, people have been going on the ships, discovering or allegedly discovering land masses. So Christopher Columbus did not discover, I personally think Christopher Columbus didn't discover anything, and, who really writes history if it is not the spectre? Anyway, chartered planes do still continuously go to and land on the runways of Antarctica to this day and beyond, because no commercial planes do, but chartered planes do, and you can still come and fly to Antarctica for research bases on a research base, or bases for research. There are about 3,000 bases in Antarctica. For example, at McMurdo Station in Antarctica, there is actually a coffee shops, which you would need to keep warm, and shops for clothing, and general stores, and there is a post office, nice red one, and there are 2 ATM machines for withdrawing your. See some money in it. See some money in there. Some people like it there so much, for whatever reason, that we've not seen them ever again, and they've never come back. Some people must like Antarctica because they've gone there to the bases and they've never come back. So I leave you with this. What good, vibrant thing could you picture in mind that could possibly be there? Just take a second to subscribe, and I want you to visualize what lovely things do you see in your mind that could possibly be there, and let us know in the comment section what you think is hidden down there. Thanks for liking it, and I'll see you on the next one. So I do have got some friends that have been there, researchers, of course, Babana, and I will say that I have an Australian friend with a deep Australian accent who has actually been abducted by aliens and taken beyond the ice walls, and that's for another one. If you would like to hear his hilarious story of his first-hand account of going to these lands beyond the Antarctica, beyond the ice wall, oh my god, I'll have to make that one. Oh my god, yes. And I'll be making more Sasquatch videos and stories about the ghosts and such. This has been for entertainment purposes only. Please comment what you think is in the Antarctic and beyond. What do you think they're hiding? You have a valid say.